Lovers of film should have a blast with this one. Servus Freunde, my name is Jimmy Cage and Dolor y Gloria, Pain and Glory is a Spanish drama film that was written and directed by Pedro Almodóvar. It was released in Spain this March, shown at the Cannes Film Festival, and over the course of the next month it will come out in several other countries as well. It tells the story of an aging film director, played by Antonio Banderas, who is reflecting on the choices in his life, who's remembering his past, mostly his childhood days, and who's making several important re-encounters in his present. It is a calm and thoughtful film, but also full of colors and wit. It is the newest work of Pedro Almodóvar, who is easily the most known and probably highest regarded living Spanish director. To my shame, I have been neglecting his filmography for way too many years now. Going into Pain and Glory, the only other film of his that I've seen is the horror thriller The Skin I Live In, which I really liked when it came out in 2011. But just a few hours after Pain and Glory, I decided to watch his most known film, for which he won the Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film, and also the one that is just celebrating its 30th anniversary this year, All About My Mother. I watched it because I adored Pain and Glory that much, and I wanted more of his unmistakable style of filmmaking, and also because I thought it would give me at least some more perspective for this review. And now I really want to explore his films more. If you are already well versed with his work or are quite new to it, as I am, both ways I think people who are in love with cinema as an art form will have a high chance to really like Pain and Glory. It certainly isn't for everybody, and you shouldn't expect a simple A to B storyline with big extrovert conflicts. It seems to be a very personal film with a high degree of autobiographical elements. I think it's safe to assume that Antonio Banderas, who worked with Almodovar already 7 times before, is his alter ego, an aging filmmaker who is in the middle of not just a creative crisis, but a life crisis. And with a topic like this, there's always the danger that it becomes a very narcissistic affair of a rather rich man who's looking back at his glorious days in self-pity. Now, there is a little bit of self-pity for sure, but only in a dose that makes the character even more real and relatable than he already is. Salvador Malo is suffering from some very severe physical and mental ailments, and though I hope you are in better health than our protagonist, I think many people will be able to connect with this, especially if you're already older and past your youth. It's a film about aging and dealing with the day-to-day pains of just living in your own body and mind. It is his health that is hindering Salvador from embracing his writing and creative process again. But from the get-go you also sense the small and big events in this man's life and what he might have been through and what he might regret. Past and present are intertwined, and Almodovar keeps taking us back, mostly to Salvador's childhood days. His mother is played by 2 wonderful actresses. Penelope Cruz when he was still a young child and his family was struggling to make a living, and Julieta Serrano when the film just jumps back a few years in time. Serrano already played the mother of Antonio Banderas in 2 other films more than 30 years ago, in Matador and Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown. Which is of course so very fitting because Almodovar is such a meta filmmaker that is embracing his own past as well as that of the medium, oftentimes incorporating pop culture, discussions about famous people from the world of the arts, homages to certain films, stories revolving around acting and motifs and storytelling devices that are only possible in film. Art is imitating life and life is imitating art, and both are in constant interaction, including some fourth wall breaking. Pain and Glory is in the same vein as Federico Fellini's 8½, an autobiographical film about a life that's ingrained with cinema and theater and the pain and the inspiration that comes with it. It's complex, thoughtful, sometimes surreal, but it's also very sensual, very beautiful and very touching. I think for people who share a love for film, it's quite wonderful, but it's also just a very moving character piece and an immensely aesthetic experience. I'm only familiar with 3 of his films now, but his use of very strong, very striking colors, his mix of melodrama, humor and deep characters, it's just fascinating and also very rewarding. There were multiple instances in the film where I feared the story would take a very predictable turn. It's not episodic, but you can make out a certain shift and focus on certain characters around Salvador and his relationships with them. An important early one is Alberto Crespo, played by Asia Etxeandia. He had played the lead role in one of Salvador's biggest movies many years ago, but they haven't talked for over 30 years. But now they reconcile and Crespo introduced Salvador to heroin smoking. For a second it looked like the film might go in a direction where he's getting completely addicted and maybe comically change into a cliché drug addict. But, minor spoiler warning, he didn't. Another very important encounter is with his former lover Federico, played by Leonardo Sbaraglia. Again, I feared it might get a bit too obvious and easy, but it's not. The movie kept me intrigued from beginning to end without it ever needing to become particularly crass or overtly dramatic. And of course I loved how everything in this complex narrative was in some way connected to art. The way the events are structured and the film leads you through its time-shifting narrative was soothing. And like I said earlier, it's very aesthetic. From the beautiful set designs, the lush colors to the hypnotic score by Alberto Iglesias that also won the Cannes Soundtrack Award. Antonio Banderas did win the Best Actor prize at Cannes, and he is indeed magnetic in this role. Fragile and strong, wistful and brave, childlike and yet characterized by all of life's hardships. It's a film about identity, addiction, aging, about family and love, and also about inspiration and new chances. And above all, it's beautiful cinema. So in German I'd say, Leid und Herrlichkeit ist ein lebendiger, farbenfroher und richtiger Film, der einen zum Träumen und Schwelgen bringt, aber auch vor Freude aufspringen lässt. I give Pain and Glory 8 out of 10. It's more like 8.1, but I don't do that.
Buen viaje. Muchas gracias por venir, de verdad.
Alright, that's it. Like always, comment below and let me know what you think about Pain and Glory. And also let me know, are you familiar with Almodovar, and if so, what is your favorite film? You can hit me up on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram simply at TheJimmyCage. And if you enjoyed this episode, please give me a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like, and make sure you hit that bell for all I have to tell.